to protect animals in a sanctuary is not the main goal. So apart from rescue and protect animals, I have very, very strong educational programs, because we all know education is our only hope. We cannot rescue all the animals in the world. Even if we have all the money, all the space, it's just impossible because the industry continue reproducing animals. So education is, for me, the only hope.
Welcome to the Better Life for Animals podcast, where we amplify the voices of animal advocates, sanctuaries, and changemakers working toward a kinder, more compassionate world. Through powerful stories and expert insights, we shine a light on the efforts to rescue, protect, and advocate for animals. Be sure to subscribe wherever you're watching or listening. Every follower helps us reach more people. And support animal sanctuaries. Enjoy the conversation.
Juliana Castañeda Turner grew up in Colombia, and from an early age, she understood that animals were more than food. They were beings who deserved care and compassion. At just 5 years old, she decided she would never eat animals again. And by the time she was 11, she was dreaming of creating a place where farm animals could live in safety. At 24, she made that dream real by opening Juliana's Animal Sanctuary, the very first sanctuary for farmed animals in Colombia. For over 20 years, Juliana has been a passionate advocate for animals, speaking out against abuse in multiple countries and languages. She wrote Cooking with Jaggy, her country's first vegan cookbook, and her work has earned her honors from the Colombian government as well as international recognition from the Global Federation of Animal Sanctuaries. Juliana also serves on the Municipal Council for Peace, Reconciliation, Coexistence, Human Rights, and Humanitarian Law in Chía, Colombia, making history as the first representative to bring animals into the national peace conversation. Her leadership extends beyond sanctuary life. She is vice president and affiliate manager at Food Yoga International, the world's largest vegan food relief organization, and co-founder of Astronomy Beyond Borders, a charity bringing free science education to underprivileged children. Holding 2 degrees in physical sciences, Juliana is a mother. Her son Bimal was born at Sanctuary, where today she and her team provide lifelong care to more than 200 rescued animals. Over the years, she has saved more than 2,300 lives, proving that kindness and vision can change not just individual faces, but the way a nation thinks about animals. Juliana, welcome to the podcast. So happy to have you here.
Oh, thank you so much. Thank you for having me.
Many people connect with animals at different stages in their lives, but you made that choice at 5. Do you remember that moment you decided to stop eating animals and how your family reacted?
I remember perfect. And anytime that I share this story with people, it's still, I have the same feeling. It's like, oh, how is possible? But I remember perfect.
Well, please tell us.
My mother was cooking a burger, and I asked, and she liked to cook, and I'm very curious about everything. So I asked to her how looks the tree, the burger tree. And she was like, oh, that's not a tree. Because food came from trees, no? So that's not a tree. And say, how is this? And she say, it's an animal, it's a cow. So it's a cow, and that was horrible because I realized I was eating someone that I like. And I said from that moment, I'm not going to do this anymore. In that moment, I mean, we are talking in the 80s, there was no, or I didn't know about the terminology or vegan or vegetarian or nothing like that. So I was just a person who don't eat animals. I call myself, I don't eat animals, and that is all. Of course, I didn't know the other horrors about dairy or I don't know how we dress and all this. I only knew about that people were killing animals to eat them. So I stopped that at first. That was letting on that I educate myself, and I realized was worse than what was in my imagination. But that was the moment that I realized this is totally wrong. No, the reaction of my family was not wrong. Actually, they support me. I mean, it's not like they're going to force me to eat animals. They just cook vegetables and all this for me, so was not a problem. Colombia is a country that we have a lot of vegetables, fruits, grains, so the variety of real food is huge. So it's not too much limitation there. So it was easy.
Well, I'm glad to hear that. Well, by age 11, I hear that you envisioned a sanctuary, and I'm imagining, did you have other sanctuaries around? What would drive a child of 11 to be able to see that and envision it through your teenage years?
No. There were no sanctuaries, and I didn't know the sanctuary terminology, and I didn't know that there were places in the world that do this, protect animals that people consider food. So I just and I draw this. It's still around there, the illustration, that I want a place where I can save animals. Of course, with the time, the idea evolved and changed, and that was because I was in the school and the teacher was asking what you want to do when you grow up, and the first thing that I say is I want to have a place to help animals. Time changed, and of course, I opened the first sanctuary in South America, the only one in Colombia. And so far, we are the only one in South America verified by the Global Federation of Animal Sanctuaries. And I took inspirations in Farm Sanctuary. That was the popular one at the moment, and I think maybe the only one at the moment that I knew. And I took inspiration from there, and I wanted to have something like what they have. And that is how everything started. With the time and long time, I realized that to protect animals in a sanctuary is not the main goal. So apart from rescue and protect animals, I have very, very strong educational programs, because we all know education is our only hope. We cannot rescue all the animals in the world. Even if we have all the money, all the space, it's just impossible because the industry continues reproducing animals. So education is, for me, the only hope.
Well said. Well, I happen to know that the sanctuary was named Outstanding Farm Sanctuary of 2021 by GFAS. That is quite an accomplishment. Congratulations. We're very interested in knowing all about your experience with GFAS. How did you find them? How did they audit you, decide that you were to be certified? All of that. Please tell us that story.
I found they have a booth many years ago I think in that moment was the Animal Rights Conference, and I think was in DC, and many years ago, that's before the pandemic and all this. And I took a lot of the flyers that they have, and I said that would be interesting. First, I didn't feel ready, because if we compare my sanctuary with sanctuary in the US, of course, I don't have the same technology of the same economy to have all the things that many sanctuaries have in the US. So I thought I was not ready for that. I wait a couple years, I think, after I meet them. They contact me and ask me if they want, and I say, of course, and I pass all the documents. Some people came to visit to check if everything is right, and I pass all the tests, and now here we are. We were the first one verified in South America. There is another one in Brazil, but I think it's a sanctuary for elephants. So we are the only one verified for farm animals.
Well, I think it's interesting that you say, well, my sanctuary isn't what some see in the United States, and yet you have saved over 2,300 animals. So that's quite significant.
I think it's a different economy, and to do things, I don't know if it's whole South America, but to do something in Colombia is very difficult. Whatever you want to do here is 20 times more difficult in another countries. And I know because I travel a lot and I talk with a lot of people. So it's very difficult, economical, the support of the people. New things are always like, what is this? What is happening? So I feel it was way more complicated for me. But well, here we are, and we have a very beautiful sanctuary, and everything is beautiful, the installation. So we are there.
Well, tell us about it. Describe it. How big is it?
How big is that? Well, let me ask because I don't know the measure in the US. How do you call this?
Well, 8 hectares. You just say it's 3.8 hectares, 38,000.
Yes, it's like a 30,000 square meters. Yeah,
Okay.
38,000 square meters. We have metal fence everywhere. I think we are the only sanctuary that the whole sanctuary is totally fenced with very strong fence because we have fear of the security. It's a very safe country. Don't believe what the news say, but we like extra protection for the animals. We have a team of 7 people helping us. We have all the animals divided in very nice places. Like, for example, something that we have is animals that eat grass. They have 2 areas. We let the one grow grass and then pass to the other one. And this, like, we don't have seasons. We have something called thermal floors that in one day you can have very hot day, raining, windy, and super cold. But it's never too cold or never too hot, so we don't have the need to have like a big barns to protect the animal from the weather. So we have some kind of houses that we move everywhere, wherever they want to be. So that is good for us that we don't have seasons. Right now we have 198 animals under our protection. We have a veterinary who work with us. All the staff members are veterinaries, so they know what they're doing. So it's good. And what I feel if I'm honest with you, is about our educational programs, because I feel that make a huge difference. So it's not only that people come and share with the animals and all this, is the education that we have with many schools in the country, and how this change everything for families, not only for the kids, for whole families in positive ways. When parents came to me and said, "Thank you, Juliana, my son changed a lot. We changed our whole diet. We are changing our lifestyles." And that, I think, is what I feel more than rescued animals, is that I feel doing this, I don't going to have the need to rescue more animals. I feel the real success is when a sanctuary closes, because we are not necessary.
100%. Is that also how you're able to fundraise and keep yourself financially viable?
Oh, no, that is the difficult part. We are located in Colombia, and we are also a 501c3 in the US.
Okay.
And even with that, it's very, very difficult to raise funds. I mean, it's one of our big problems. We are being registered in the US for 10 years, and big part of the donations came from there. And let's say 40% of the maintenance of the sanctuary came from donations, mostly in the US. In Colombia, no. It's something cultural, I think. So people is not ready to donate here. One, because the socio-economic situation is difficult, and the lack of trust is very strong. It's not easy to trust in someone to give money just like that. So the fundraising is very difficult, and it's mostly me working non-stop. So we have a doggy daycare.
Okay.
And that is one of the ways we raise funds for the sanctuary. I sell clothing for people who love animals. So it's like embroidered and printed with, I don't know, dog mom or something like that. And I do many things. I do 3D printing stuff. But it's mostly the dog daycare that helps. But that means I work from 2:30 a.m. to 9:30 p.m.
I love this idea of having a doggy daycare. It makes so much sense. That's cats and dogs that everyone loves, and they don't always know how to make that connection between dogs and cats and pigs and cows and goats. And yet this is how you sustain your sanctuary.
It is a big part of how I do it. So, and people trust because it's Juliana, the one from the sanctuary, and everyone know I'm not going to hurt an animal. So people trust easy in us.
I can't imagine that they don't trust you because you've been honored by the Colombian government, for heaven's
Yeah,
sake,
they
right?
know I'm not going to do that much there.
Okay, so it's very much baked into the culture, I guess. I feel like it is here too, quite frankly, but I accept that, in South America, perhaps it's even more so.
It's even more.
Okay, okay. Well, how do you balance then because there's just one of you. How do you balance being an activist, a voice for government, a sanctuary? How do you manage this?
You're listening to Better Life for Animals podcast. Our mission is to amplify the voices of animal advocates, sanctuaries, and changemakers working toward a kinder, more compassionate world. But we can't do it alone. We need your help. First of all, go ahead and subscribe to this channel wherever you're watching or listening. And then get involved by visiting betterlifeforanimals.com. That's betterlifeforanimals.com. Be sure to check out our blog, learn more about incredible sanctuaries, and explore our book section, where 100% of net proceeds from book sales are donated to sanctuaries. Every action you take helps to make a difference. And remember, subscribe to this channel. And now, back to the show.
This is the question that everyone do to me. And I always have the same answer. I have no idea. No idea. Sometimes I question myself is how I'm doing all this, because honestly it's a lot, and I'm totally aware of that. I mean, I wake up super early, the stress of have to find money all the time. I'm also a mother. So my kid, and also a wife. I have this huge property that I have to maintain, and even when there is a staff members, they ask me everything. So for example, when I was about to start here with you, I have to send a message to everyone. I'm going to start this. Please nobody interrupt me unless there is blood involved. Something like that, because they ask me everything. It's like they want to do everything right, perfect, that they have fear to do something without me approving everything. So I'm all the time like this in the phone, and people is talking with me, and I am in the phone, and suddenly I have to drive to take my son to the piano lessons and go here to pick up some dog for the daycare of the hotel, something like that. So I think that, I don't know, I have so much love and for the animals, that
Well, you've been dreaming about this and manifesting it since you were 5.
literally.
So you must have this is your life's purpose, I'm sure. So
I have no doubt.
there's always energy behind that. Of course, it's, you're
I'm
only
sure
one
it's
person.
that. Yeah.
Yeah.
I have my auntie say the same. Anytime you speak, literally, it's like you are manifesting everything. So I think it's like that. But that doesn't mean, and I'm very careful, and I even go to therapists and all this, that I get tired, overwhelmed, burnt out, and like any normal human.
Absolutely.
So I try to take care of me with therapies or hypnosis therapy, things like that. I don't want to loosen it because I have many animals under my wings.
We need you to be healthy.
Yeah.
Well, I understand you wrote the first Colombian vegan cookbook. How is that doing?
That was my husband's idea. I like to cook, and before I met my husband, I have a blog that is called Cooking with Jag. Jag is one of my nicknames, and I was in that moment, even when I have the sanctuary, I have no tour programs for people come and visit the sanctuary. And I still have this feeling that I have to do some kind of activism. So I was thinking that while I teach people to cook without hurt animals, I can speak and do this. So I have this blog, it was a blog at the moment, and I post recipes with very, very bad photos, and I post everything until I meet my husband, who he really knows how to cook. I mean, he really cooks. He told me you should do a book, and I shared this idea with another friend that is an illustrator, and I put few Colombian recipes and few recipes that are like my ideas, and the whole book is with illustrations on myself or the reason why I cook. I decided to do this recipe, beautiful illustration that some people think is a book for kids, but it actually is adult book, and that is how. And then I researched, and nobody in Colombia have a vegan cookbook. So that is where I realized, okay, I did the first one. I didn't know that nobody told me that idea before.
Well, I want to get back to what you said about how important education is. And you're certainly a model of that with 2 degrees of your own. And I'm just wondering how those physical science degrees shape the way you approach problems at the sanctuary and beyond. Do you think that it gives you a different perspective than had you not gone down that road?
I decided to study science because I like to see what I want to believe. I mean, if my eye don't see it, I'm not 100% sure. And that is why I decided to study science. And like my main plan was to have the sanctuary. I say I'm going to have some personal stuff before, because then I'm going to be just for the animals. So I went to the college twice, and when I was free of all my personal stuff, what I call my selfish part, I say I'm free to do everything for them, because in some psychological way, I don't want to have frustrations. Like, oh, I'm here cleaning cow dung, and I never went to the college. So no, I wanted that part of my life satisfied so I can dedicate myself to what I do. Um, and I apply science in everything when I educate the kids in the schools. So when I told about veganism and all this, it's science. It's not a person who loves animals speaking. No, I speak in science. And the only fact that I have a degree in science make people feel more confident that I'm speaking in these ways. So people say, okay, well, she spent more than 10 years to study science, so I don't think she's lying. I think she researched what she's doing. So the just degrees helping me a lot to educate others and make the parents of the kids that I educate trust on this.
So it's added to your credibility to the
Yeah,
mainstream.
literally.
Very interesting. Well, I also read that your son, Bimal, was born at the sanctuary, and I'm very interested to hear how raising a child in that environment has influenced you
Oh,
and him and probably everyone, right?
that was a lot of things that I was not expecting. The reason why I want to deliver BMO inside our house, the sanctuary, is because when I rescued one of my bulls, was I saw how living in the countryside, you can see how horrible it is when they separate the cows from the calf. And the Jaime is so traumatized that I say, I don't want to be separated from my son 1 second. And I know the hospital have to do this, take the mother, I don't know, test. No, I don't want that for a second, and my brain cannot do that. So that is when I decide I'm going to have my son in home, and was in a water bird and all this, long water bird. But I remember a few things. Well, I always dreamed to be a mother. This was very calculated. But when I was 7 months, I remember perfect, I was in the bathroom, and then I turned and I looked myself in the mirror and the big belly, and I said, oh my God, what I did. And I was very worried, because how I'm going to explain to him that people kill and eat animals, like the dead body of someone. And still, I don't want him to hate people. And in that moment, for a few minutes, I felt so much regret. Like, I cannot do this. How am I going to do this? Because he's going to born in this place where everyone are going to be his siblings. And outside is all these people that are not bad people. I mean, people who eat animals are not bad people. It's just A lot of people is many ignorant, but it's not like that they are evil,
Mhm.
and still don't feel hate for these people, even knowing that they are killing, abusing, torturing his siblings. So I freak out a little bit there, but nothing. And then we delivered Bima, was beautiful. Oh, you can hear, I was hearing all my animals around when I was delivery, was really magical. And then I was me, the educator, the one who educate people to be vegan. I never did with him. No one single time. I never explained to him why we are vegan, what means to be vegan, why we don't hurt animals. I never are. Maybe for the reason that I don't want them explain, but they are good people, but they kill animals, but they are good people. I just don't know how to manage that part with my son. Luckily, I don't have to explain. He understand. He just know. He just know. And something very interesting was to see his relation with animals from zero. I mean, that person that they always told about how is someone who never abused animals, to see it in him was amazing. So in comparison, for example, when kids from schools came, when they see, let's say, a pig, the first reaction is, a pig, they feel so like it's so sweet, That don't happen with my son. For him, literally, they are equals.
Mm.
So if he see a pig, he can come to complain with me. Oh, mom, I was playing with the pig and he hit me. Like he was another one, just like him. He literally see animals just like him. He cannot make the difference. He don't know how to make the difference. That is very interesting because let's be honest, even when I am vegan, a part of me made the difference. I mean, I always say to me, if I'm driving and I see that this is horrible, a car hit a human baby, and it's like that, it's going to be very in shock. A little different when we see that it's more often a dog hit by a car in the street, because we have still that identification with our human body. But like Abima was born here, he don't have that kind of identification. He just see living entities. Literally, we are all the same, looking different. There is zero speciesism in him. And when I was thinking that I'm going to educate my son to be vegan and to teach others, was him who educated me in so many ways. I mean, to see natural, how you are vegan, natural, how you born vegan. I didn't teach him anything, was amazing experience. It's still amazing experience.
That is such a beautiful story. I think that sounds like a book. That sounds like a movie.
Yeah.
Because we as a society just think that this is as it should be. This is how it's always been. There's people who think this is natural, and there's nothing natural about it. And you, with your family, have proven this is exactly what we know, is that we are born with compassion. And it is, it's worked out of us over time based, on where we live in society. So what a beautiful story. I'm so happy to have you on the show to talk about these ideas and realities of actually what's actually happening. This is what could actually be for sanctuaries all across the world. Because we need more of them, we need them to be stronger, and we need people to visit them and meet the animals and understand that they're sentient beings just like everyone else, and do away with this cruelty it's just completely unnecessary. As you said, in your country, there's plenty of options to eat. It was never a question about, oh my goodness, what am I going to eat? We hear that here in the United States sometimes, and it's, I don't always know why they think that, but here you are saying, well, that was never the question. There's always plenty to eat.
Yes, I always say to people, just look at the plate you have in front. 90% of the things are vegan. It's only a little piece. I mean, you're not going to die without that.
Right. It's what are you going to eat? You're going to eat everything
else.
The
other thing, yes.
Well, after 20 years of activism, what is the future that you dream for animals in Colombia and globally? And what keeps you hopeful?
I am a dreamer. I am a dreamer. So I still believe, even when a lot of people stop me and say, no, Juliana, I don't think it's going to happen like that. But when I see my son, when I see all these kids that came to the sanctuary and their interaction and their understanding, yes, I believe that at some point the world is going to be vegan. I'm not going to be alive to see it. And I hope the kids that I am educated, or my son and all that, contribute to this vegan future. But I think it's going to happen. I stopped to eat animals. I'm 44 now. It's been 39 years that I don't eat an animal. More than 23 years that I'm being vegan. And I saw all this. I seen how it's happening. From the day that I didn't know vegetarian was a war, until the first vegetarian restaurant in my country. And now we have so many vegan restaurants, so many options. Now I'm going to the supermarket and it's the vegan section and all this. Yes, it's happening. I never see someone going backwards. I see it better and better, and I've been doing this more than 30 years. So yes, it's an evolution.
Beautiful. Well, Juliana, tell us how we can find you.
We are in social media as Juliana's Animal Sanctuary, and Instagram and TikTok, Juliana's Animal Sanctuary, in X, Juliana's Farm, and our website, julianasfarm.org.
Thank you so much for being on the show today. This has been a wonderful conversation with Juliana Castañeda Turner, and I'm Cheryl Moss. If you have enjoyed today's conversation, please like and subscribe so that we all can create a better life for animals.
Thank you for joining us on the Better Life for Animals podcast. Together, we can create a world where all beings are treated with dignity, respect, and care. If you enjoyed this episode, be sure to subscribe, rate, and review wherever you're listening. It helps us reach more people and spread awareness about the incredible work happening in animal sanctuaries. You can also share this episode with friends and fellow advocates to keep the conversation going. Until next time, keep speaking up, taking action, and making a difference for the animals.